What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Enhanced. So now we're on the first real level at the police station in Georgia. Even in the vanilla game, this level's not that difficult to ghost. There's only really two tricky parts, which I'll get to. The beginning part is real easy because you're not really dealing with anybody. You just have to climb the ladder of the roof, go through the hatch, and then we're going to climb up here. And we have to zip line to this burning building to locate a guy named Gurganinze for intel on the MIA spies we're looking for, Blaustein and Madison. And I'm going to kind of speed run through the burning building. You don't even have to go into that room that explodes. Grim will do a good job of explaining the route to get through here, so you could just listen to her if this is your first time playing, but I'm kind of speed running it, as you can see. So just follow my path, or if you're trying to... Oh, that was an accident, but there we go. If you're playing for the first time, you can just listen to Grim. She'll navigate you through. Don't be afraid of the fire, but don't get too close to it also. Here's Gurganinze. So we'll talk to him. You can skip through this if you really want to, but yeah, he's not gonna survive. So we just gotta listen to his intel and then move on from there. As you can see, I have the thermal override for the enhanced mod turned on, because by default you don't get thermal vision until CIA HQ, which is like 3 levels from now. But with the override from the enhanced mod, you can have thermal vision right from the beginning, which I recommend doing because there was really no point to leave it hostage until you get to Langley. But anyways, he's gone now, so we're going to have to go over here. To avoid taking damage, shoot out the skylight. Grim can tell you to do it, but you have to go in and start inhaling smoke before she'll tell you. So then, we can proceed through here, and then onward we go. This next part is a little tricky because you have to do it in a very specific way to not draw the attention of the civilian down there. Basically, you need to stand up and then just run across at full speed to drop and grab the ledge. I did it wrong, so I quick loaded and tried again. And that's one thing you're going to be seeing a lot in these Splinter Cell walkthroughs. I'll obviously be quick saving all the time, but I will be quick loading a lot in order to correct mistakes, because there you go, that's how you do it. I'm not going to be doing these Splinter Cell levels in one perfect consecutive run. I would lose my mind if I tried to do that, especially in the first game, which is not meant to be ghostable. So very carefully get around that guy, and then we're gonna hang out here. Don't stand in front of the window, or else he'll see you. Let him get around that corner, and then you can open the door, and then carefully climb in. And then once you're in enough, you can speed up. And we need to get to a hidden computer terminal behind the painting in this room, right here. It will give us the door code for the door behind us. And with the enhanced mod, door codes will now show up at the bottom of the screen when you're next to the corresponding keypad, just like in Pandora Tomorrow. Or the PS2/GameCube versions of this game, they also did that. So make sure you drop softly here. It's a tin roof, it makes noise. And now, next way is here. I mean, the level's relatively linear, so it's pretty easy to figure out where to go. Slide down the elevator cable, and then open the shaft, or the hatch for the shaft, and that's our way down. Another enhancement mod thing is the ability to lockpick from the action menu, eliminating the need to equip it, like you do in the vanilla game. And then here's a part that's tricky. I legitimately forgot how to do it. We need to get up to that ledge, but you have to do it in a very specific way. And as you can tell, when I was recording this, I forgot the way. You obviously don't fling yourself from this wall. You'll go too far. And then you don't get up on this ledge thing either, because you'll probably just fall off. And then I remembered this isn't chaos theory where it probably would have naturally let me turn onto the ledge. No. This is the first game with all its clunkiness. Now, eventually I'm going to get this right. Basically, the wall behind me is what we need to fling ourselves from. The wall with the window there. Hold on. And then I'm like, Again, I confused this for chaos theory where I would have automatically grabbed that pipe and been able to go to the next ledge. But in the first game, you can't do that. So, hold on. I'll get it at some point. Come on. It's so irritating to watch. But, yeah, I still... Man, how many times did I screw this up? We fling ourselves from this wall, right here. This is the wall you need. Do exactly what I did and you'll get up to this ledge. This is the best way around these cops over here. As well as that drunk guy on the bench who... Actually, I don't think he can spot you. But obviously the guy on that balcony over there can. And you gotta be careful around the cops. But this is the best way to go because it's a high up ledge and you're perfectly hidden in shadows. We just need to get over towards this other side and we're gonna drop down into those giant leaf plants down there. So somewhere around here you can go ahead and drop down. And then drop down again. And there you go. And now, the next few parts are going to exemplify why I think this isn't really the best first level in the game. I mean, there are some reasons why it's a good first level. The enemy presence is pretty minimal. And the path through the level is... It's a pretty linear level and the path is pretty easy to figure out, but at the same time, there's not a lot of good alternate options for approach. And this level is relative, like the streets you're walking through are relatively claustrophobic, and in terms of like sneaking past people without taking them out, it's annoying considering how narrow these streets are. We're going to have to quickly get over here to the shadow because that guy will turn around. And we also need to beat that guy up in those windows. We don't want him to see us either. So So he's going up the stairs. Once window guy looks away, we can carefully move up, but don't move too fast, otherwise you'll draw the attention of that patrolling goon, which I did at least twice in this recording. But you don't have to rush because you have enough time to get to the next shadowy spot before window guy comes back. And before the goon comes back, too. We want to try not to draw his attention, because that way we can just avoid him on his normal patrol path. What you want to do is stay as far to the left as you can until you get close to the stairwell, then you can work your way over here where it's dark. So all these situations where I screw up, you can use them as examples of what not to do. Because like I said, I am not going to go through the effort of recording perfect consecutive runs for these levels. You can go to hell. But make sure window guy's not looking, and then you yourself can go up the stairs, and then get close to this wall because there's another guy looking out the windows that we want to make sure we avoid. So carefully watch those windows like a hawk to make sure he doesn't see you. And then there's a pretty well hidden air vent right here, leading to a hidden room with a laptop that contains the keypad code for the police station. Make sure you get this, you need it. And you also can't progress until you get it, because a cop just opened these gates for us, so now we can progress. Here's one of the trickier parts of the level. We need to carefully tiptoe behind this civilian to progress. And don't try to run ahead of him. There's too many lights. He'll see you. So, first a few examples of what not to do. I don't exactly understand how this guy works, but if you sneak too close to him, this tends to trigger him to stop and then look behind him. So, here we go. It's about to get messed up again. He like stops, and then I guess, and then that happens. Initially, I was trying to hide between the dumpsters, but then I forgot that it's much, much, much easier to hide in the in this doorway that's going to be to the right. This right here. So I tried the dumpsters again, but that happened. And then I think here I made it to the doorway, but this dude just had to look back behind him. I think the next one is the one where I get it, but I've opted to keep these mistakes in just to prove, I guess, just to kind of showcase how I'm not, even though I try to be a perfectionist at games like this, I'm not perfect. I make tons of mistakes. Now, I mean, anyone who's watched my channel long enough will know that I'm kind of a perfectionist at Hitman, but that's a game that's easier. It's easier to be a perfectionist in Hitman because the levels are, you're playing large open-ended levels that aren't really that difficult to do in one perfect consecutive run. Whereas something like this, the levels are just too long, and especially in the first game here, too difficult to pull off a perfect run like that. So yeah, there's a guy up in the windows there. So that's what not to do. What you do want to do is stay as close to the left as possible until you're well concealed in shadows to cut over to the other side. We need the cop and that annoying civilian to come back. Once there's going to be a goon up ahead, he will not move until we get close. That will trigger him to move. And then, yep, there's the stats, which have also been added for Splinter Cell Enhanced. Anyways, let both of these guys go by, and then make sure the window guy to the left is not looking before we make our move. And remember to quick save often. I can't stress that enough. And then, here's what you gotta do to get past this part. This is probably the hardest part of the whole level. In order to get past this goon around this whole trellis thing that's up ahead, you're gonna have to do a gunshot distraction, just like I did, to kind of lure him over this way. Or basically, we want to distract him in a way so that we can move forward without him seeing. That way we can get past this whole trellis thing. Because if we did not distract him and we just let him move on, he would stand at the end of that trellis thing and never ever move. And it's too difficult to distract him in that area considering how bright it is. Shoot. There was a window guy that I was looking at a few minutes ago, very carefully watch out for him. Shoot out that light that I shot out just to give yourself some extra cover, and then you have to, like, jump up the wall to climb over to reach the next section. The keypad code for the police station came from the laptop, and now we're in the precinct. First thing we need to do is avoid this cop. Best thing to do, we need to hide from him by split jumping right here. If you split jump here, you're going to be well concealed in the shadows, and that's an awesome silhouette right there. I love that. Anyways, just stay up here until the cop walks by again, and as soon as he passes under you, make sure you drop down softly. Unlike pretty much every other game in the series, like Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, and whatnot, those games give you the option to drop softly by simply pressing the crouch button, but in the original game, you have to press jump in order to drop down. And while dropping, you need to make sure you press crouch to guarantee that you drop softly. It's annoying and can lead to a lot of mistakes, but it's just how it is. Yeah, quietly drop down and go ahead and move forward. Hug the wall so that this technician guy right here does not see us. And then, if you want to be safe, wait for him to move again. But what we're trying to do is get here, and then here you definitely want to wait for him to move again. That way he will not see us as we enter the morgue here. Immediately round the corner as soon as you go in, and you're going to have to aim and shoot out the camera. It's probably going to take a few shots because the pistol accuracy is very bad, but you got to make sure you shoot it out. That's one thing I noticed, is that one of the enhanced mod features is PS2 pistol accuracy, which I assumed improved the accuracy of the pistol, but no, it's still shit, which is annoying, but whatever, it is what it is. I've played this game more than enough to adjust to the crap factor of the pistol. So all you really need to do basically is enter the morgue until the OPSAT dialogue with Lambert and Grimm happens, and that'll complete the objective. The next goal is to progress upstairs like I just did. Basically, we need to go around this room in a square shape motion, staying in the shadows to avoid that civilian and the cop at the reception desk, because we're going to go up one more floor through this door. We need to go to the security room to look at the CCTV feed to try to get to try to get evidence on where to go next. So first, go into the first office to the right because we need to get a soda can out of the trash can. We're going to be throwing it as a distraction because this is another part that's kind of tricky, but at the same time, it's not hard because it's all you got to do. Once you figure out how to do it, it's easy. There's a cop in the security room who you'd think you were forced to knock out since he's standing right in front of the monitors, but if you pick up a soda can from the trash can like I did, you can throw it to the other end of the room, and this will distract him in a way where you can get to the computer and then hide back in the corner before he can see you. You're just going to have to wait for the right moment. He's eventually going to leave the room, and that will be our cue to go to the computers. And like I said, having the thermal vision override is great, because this is a situation in an early level where having thermal vision is really helpful. Because without it, you just had to you kind of had to watch him move to the left through that little opening in the curtains, but with the thermal vision you can perfectly see him through the curtains. This is why I highly recommend the Splinter Cell Enhanced mod. It makes a lot of quality of life improvements, and of course it adds the rating system, hence the walkthroughs I'm doing. So now we want him to go back to neutral, and then we'll just slip back out. And we will completely backtrack back downstairs, and then out the front door. So yeah, despite some quirks, like how extremely claustrophobic the level design for this level is, it's still a relatively easy level in regards to ghosting. At least it's easy compared to most of the others. I mean, in terms of ghosting the level, and then getting a 100% on the rating system through Enhanced, this is probably the easiest one. Immediately go to the left as soon as you're out of the door. Let the door close before you run to the van. That way you can guarantee those guys inside don't see you. And that's it. Mission over. 100%. Alright, I'll see you next time.